And we are live. Welcome to episode 50-something of the RetroSlot podcast.
50 something. You think we've done
the
this
one right
once or
after
twice
the
before?
last one.
Yeah, the one the number that's in the notes that you're looking at. 54.
54.
Yes.
This week we'll be covering a bunch of retro news. We'll be covering Ghouls'n Ghosts for the Sega Genesis. Maybe talk a little Super Ghouls'n Ghosts. Did you get to play a little Super Ghouls'n Ghosts?
I didn't know that was on the
I was just wondering if you checked it out. I played a
I
little bit
have
of
it.
it to
That's the one that
just
I
to compare
own.
it.
Yeah.
And we got some discussion topics and we got some pickups. We got a lot to go over. Jay, how you been?
Good. I think 2 weeks ago. So we did our Great Wolf Lodge adventure. I have for anybody who's watching the YouTube version of this, I got my ears.
Somebody's
Which some
getting
people
very
are like,
turned
those
on
are
right
rabbit
now.
ears. No, these are wolf ears. Thank you very much.
Roar.
Yeah, it was rawr. We were very thankful. Our friend Grenader Jake, basically, he used my setup to do like a sponsored poker thing because he couldn't do that in Washington. He lives like 45 minutes away over the border. And so he basically rented out our house and my stream setup so that he could do that one weekend. And he's like, I'm gonna send you guys on a trip. So
That's
we
awesome.
went to it was great. We went to Great Wolf Lodge, and not having to worry about the expense of it was awesome.
Yeah,
And just we splurged and we're like spoiling the kids and did all sorts of activities and whatnot. It was not relaxing, but it was a lot of fun.
that's good. Yeah,
So
sometimes it's more relaxing to go on vacation. Sometimes it's more relaxing to get home from vacation.
he's like, I need a night to like decompress from all that vacationing that I just
Yeah.
did.
Me and the wife are currently in the beginning phases of planning two kayaking trips, like overnight trips. One
Mhm.
just the two of us, and one with like about 10 people. And the one with just the two of us is going to be like the tryout, so that we know what to do with like 10 people, and like where to
Sure.
bring them and all
Oh,
that.
you're having to like scope it out.
Yeah. Scope it out. Also, like what gear is really essential. Like what should we tell people to bring? Like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So that trip obviously is until summer, but we're trying to start figuring it out now.
Sure.
And it's already stressful.
Well, yeah, because now you got people counting on you and stuff.
Yeah. And we've just kind of left it like an open invite. Like I've mentioned it to about 10 people. I've been like, yeah, just come. And like, everybody's like, yeah, sure. And like, you don't know if sure
Oh,
means
I hate
like,
that.
I'm definitely committing to this or we'll see.
Well, is it a financial commitment for them as well and stuff?
No, it's free if you own a kayak. I mean,
Oh.
you got to bring probably some food and definitely some booze.
I was about to say, well, I didn't get invited, and then you said kayak, and I was like, yeah, I don't never mind. This guy, not a kayaker.
I mean, everybody's a kayaker. You just got to sit in a kayak. Boom, you're a
I'm not.
kayaker. You're one of the river folk now.
I'm not built for things that float.
No?
No, not a fan.
Uh,
There's stories there that I can tell you later that
okay.
like traumatizing type
Oh.
stuff. Yeah. Like Mother Nature trauma, not other kinds of things.
Okay.
Anyways. So yeah.
Well,
How was
kayaking with me probably wouldn't be that great then because we do psychedelics sometimes too.
Oh, fun. Good.
Just kind of
Freak me out while I'm great. I'm freaking out, man. I don't know what is this, water or lava? Don't fucking touch it. It all makes sense now. It all makes it just a little bit to nibble.
Just a nibble.
Just want to freak out a little bit. I want to imagine it's spiders, not lava.
I got some discussion topics, or we have some discussion topics. And I finally, Jay, I've been talking about doing this for a year, but I finally wrote down all of the games that we've covered for the show so far.
Yeah.
Which didn't take that long. It was 3 minutes. It was like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was a long list,
54 games.
That's right.
Did you count them all, by the way?
No.
I think we might be missing a couple. It's fine.
That might be. It's
I
possible.
swore I looked at this list and I was like, wait, didn't we do Link to the Past? And apparently I don't think we did. I
I
don't
don't
know.
think we did. I think you were just playing that game when we started the show because I
Yeah,
remember
I think
talking
that's what it
about it
was.
with you, but I
Yeah.
don't think we actually like made it a selection because I think you were playing it on stream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I actually beat it too, which I wouldn't have been able to do off stream because it's very difficult to like know where all the shit is. But
Yeah. But I kind of wanted to ask you now that we have this list made up and we can like kind of
Mhm.
peruse it, what your favorite and least favorite games that we've played so far on the for the show are, and like maybe like with a slant toward things I've picked, and I'll pick things that you've picked. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Maybe. I
All
mean, if
right.
you can, it's kind of hard to like parse all that
How about we do both?
information.
How
Yeah.
about we
Okay.
do both? Favorite one that I've picked is probably Punch Out, just because it's such a staple for me.
Yeah.
And then least favorite one that I picked, do I think we got some here too that like a couple of our guests that we should
Yes.
bring more people
Absolutely.
on had picked. Uh, I don't know. Plock was a little weird, but it wasn't bad. It was just weird. Who picked Home Alone?
It had to be
Was
you.
that
I wouldn't have done that to you. I'm
all
I'm a
right?
nicer
So my
person
least
than
favorite
that.
was Home Alone. That game's terrible.
Okay.
All right.
That is also the least favorite game that you picked.
Yeah. Briar's like, I don't even remember
I don't
playing
even
that
remember
game.
playing it. I mean, it was like the 4th episode. It was 2 years ago.
And favorite one that you picked might be Rocket Knight Adventure.
That was a fun game.
Yeah. And then least favorite one that you picked. Trying to think here. I don't know. You've picked a lot of good. I don't know. To be honest, this week's might be my least favorite game that you picked.
That is
I'm not
incredible
gonna
to
lie.
me. That is
I'm not
incredible.
gonna lie.
I mean,
Just out of frustration level.
so I'm just like looking at some of the highlights of stuff that you picked. You picked Chrono Trigger. That's a highlight. I still haven't finished it
Mhm,
yet. I put another
mhm.
probably 5 hours into it since the last episode, but I have not
Oh,
finished it yet. Um, least favorite, honestly, Home Alone has got to be it. But like, I was surprised how much I did not enjoy playing Kirby's Adventure, even though you know how you know that you're playing something that's good, but it's just not for you.
Yeah,
I was so
sure.
bored playing that game. You know what I mean? It's like
It is. It's a very kind of chill game. Yeah.
it is chill. It's very like it's easy, but it's not simple, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
it was not engaging me. Like I was just like I felt like I was just kind of rambling through it to try and get through it for the show.
It's a younger audience type of game. I think
That could be. That could be.
more forgiving.
My favorite game that or my least favorite game that I picked. I mean, I just picked banger after banger out here.
Uh,
Oh, you picked Blaster Master too, which I hadn't played since I was a kid, and it was fun to play it through that.
mhm,
Although it
mhm.
was harder than I remember. Oh, you picked Gradius. I hated Gradius. It's so hard. That game is so
That's
hard.
that's yeah.
Jackie Chan's Kung Fu. You picked that. That was awesome.
Mhm.
Damn. Now I'm just reading through the list.
Yeah, I always bounce back and forth between like mainstream games that I know that we should cover, and then like kind of
Yeah.
obscure games that I want to play that I've never played that I've heard good things about. I like to bounce back and forth, and I know you do too.
Yeah. Or sometimes I just pick something up and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to make this.
Right? Yeah. Now that I own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pick Super Metroid or did I?
That might have been a consensus pick.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I was like, I think I'm the well, no, because if this is in order, generally we go back and forth. You did RoboCop versus Terminator. I did Kirby, and then the next one was Super Metroid. That might have been you.
It might have been, but you wouldn't have picked Bionic Commando, would you?
I yeah, absolutely did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that makes sense.
and
I
then
don't know.
Shadowgate was Ryan.
Shadowgate was Ryan. Fantasy
Yeah.
Star was a good one. Okay. That was probably the most surprising game that I picked because
Fantasy Star.
I liked it so much. I was surprised how much I was enjoying myself playing that one.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot where I've answered. I think I've
I
been
don't know
through
what
like
the
7
consensus
games.
is, but yeah, we've talked about now
We
we're
talked
just
a
reminiscing.
lot of games. I didn't like UN Squadron either. It was not for me.
I thought you should go back and try it now that you're like into shmups now.
That's a good idea. Maybe I should. I did pick it up. I have the cartridge.
Yeah.
Okay. There was another question that you put on
Yeah.
there.
I just was like, I like the weird, dumb bullshit type
Yeah.
questions. What's your favorite kind of pizza crust?
You stuff that crust and I'm in. I am sold. I am interested. Stuff the cheese in the crust. Otherwise, half the time, I save my crust and feed it to the dog afterward. I don't even eat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to not eat crust, but now it's like one of my favorite things as an
Really.
adult.
It's
Yeah.
better than like so my theory is I'd rather have a bite of actual pizza with cheese and sauce and whatever toppings are on there than just plain ass crust. Unless the crust is superb.
I think my favorite part of the pizza is when there's like a half inch of pizza still on the crust.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of the cheese, a little bit of the sauce, and then you have a crust, and then maybe the crust has some kind of seasoning on it or something, but
Yeah.
it's still fluffy and then crispy on the outside. So you take a bite and it's almost like a cheesy breadstick almost.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part of the pizza because a lot of the times when you're eating the rest of the pizza, it's just too much shit in your mouth all at once, especially if it's not crispy enough. You know those pizzas that are like doughy and it's just this like mishmash of just
Yeah.
ugh. I
Yeah.
like having a little bit crispy. It's why I don't like enchiladas and stuff. It's too mushy. But
Too mushy.
um I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a thin crust fan. Like I do like thin crust. It's usually more salty. But I like pan pizza crust, but also my stomach hates it because it's usually a lot of butter and
Yeah.
stuff. I do like stuffed crust, but at the same time, sometimes stuffed crust can have that undercooked, doughy kind of consistency. You know, it's like
That's
cheese
true.
and
Also,
uncooked.
usually not of the highest quality of pizzas.
Sure, sure.
Not top
But
tier pizza.
yeah, well, you got to dip stuffed crust into like marinara sauce or something. Really,
Okay. All right.
have you
I'll
never
do
done
that.
that?
Uh-uh.
I think that's kind of a key,
Hmm.
so that to give it some texture.
You know what my wife has started to do over the last couple of years? She puts ranch dressing on pizza.
Yeah, Wiferton. My wife does that. Just dips the crust in ranch. I'm not a ranch fan, so no.
No, I hate ranch. It's like bottom tier salad dressing. The Hidden Valley should
Who
have
puts
stayed hidden.
and I haven't seen that put on a salad since I lived in the South. Like that is a
Yeah.
big Southern staple.
Is
Just
it?
a giant diet soda and a salad covered in ranch.
Didn't they like invent ranch dressing in like the
I
1990s?
I don't know. It's
I don't
just
know.
terrible.
You know when you go to a wings place
Mayonnaise.
and they're like, "Do you want ranch or blue cheese?" I feel like they're insulting me when they ask for ranch. Just assume that I'm gonna make the better choice here and give me the blue cheese.
I don't know. I mean, it's the same shit. Come on now. As far as the base of it, it's the same thing. It's like the mayonnaise and the mayonnaise with the mayonnaise and then a little bit of flavoring.
I didn't know there was mayonnaise and ranch dressing.
Oh, there. Well, okay. People might argue with me, but it's the same. It's like what eggs and oil and all that stuff, which is basically what mayonnaise is.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing in like a ranch dressing. It's or blue cheese. It's
is
mayonnaise
it?
based. Pretty
I had
sure.
no idea, but it tastes so much
Yeah.
better. And it's got chunks of cheese that's moldy.
You keep your mold, sir. I will say though, on a spicy wing, blue cheese like cuts the spice a bit for
Yeah.
sure.
How spicy do you go with your wings?
Not
Not spicy?
maybe like a 2 or 3 out of 10. I
Do you
like a
go
little bit of bite, but not to the point where it's covering up the flavor, you know?
same. That's the rational man right there.
I like, like a sweet spicy.
Yeah. I also don't want to pay for it tomorrow. I don't want to re-experience the heat. I want it to
There's
be
that number
one
10
and done
coming
as
right
far as
up.
heat.
Yeah, I don't if I start having to do this, it's too spicy.
Too spicy. A little bit of spice though helps the beer go down.
The beer or the beard?
Beer.
Okay. I don't think that's how that works. I think it makes it spicier.
Perfect. I actually had a wonderful steak. Do you guys have Roost Chris steakhouses out there?
We do, but I've never been to one.
We went there last night for dinner, and oh my god, my steak was top 10 steak. So good.
Nice. What kind of steak did you get?
I can't remember because I was a little bit drunk when I got there. So my father ordered, and I just said, I'll take what he's having.
You just, how do you not, was it a filet? Was it a ribeye? Was it bone in?
It's definitely a bone in.
New York strip?
It was a New York strip. But I don't remember.
Probably a ribeye. I would bet ribeye.
One of my kids went down to Pennsylvania to visit him, and he drove the kid up yesterday, and he got here at like 2:30. But I had to do side quests, so at like 4. So we were kind of hanging around drinking wine and whiskey before I did the podcast. Then I did the podcast. I'm like, well, I might as well bring a thing of whiskey up to do the podcast. And then when I got done with the podcast, we went out for dinner. So I was
You remember doing the podcast?
Yeah.
You remember? You do?
I remember laughing a lot. It was good. That was fun.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't know. It was good. So we got some news.
We do.
Got some news.
Do you remember last episode we talked about the Rondo of Blood PC Engine copy that was misgraded by WATA and put up on eBay?
Yeah, it was like a repro, and they graded it as like an original.
Yeah, WATA came out with an official statement like, hey, yep, we made a mistake. We're working on trying to increase our like knowledge base of stuff like this, and then also trying to retrieve the item that was sold to void the certification. I'm sure the person who got it verified is just chomping at the bit to send their game back to WATA and have it decertified. I'm sure they're just super excited about that.
Ignore.
Who's this calling again?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you made a pretty good explanation for a reasonable reason this could happen, and like human error is definitely a thing, and we shouldn't be too hard on people who make mistakes. Like, that's a fact, and you made a good, strong argument. On the other hand, the fact that this was on eBay for like, how much was it? Like $4,000 for like 6 months. Like, I don't know. It like when your only job is to grade video games and you do something like this, like it really calls into question like how worthwhile is this service. But on the other hand, like what the fuck do I care? I'm never gonna engage with this service at all. Like, so
yeah, I'm pretty sure most grading companies have had mistakes happen, and I think honestly, if somebody is motivated enough, they can pull a fast one. And I think that says, I'm not trying to defend WATA here. I'm just from a human psychology perspective, anybody that's going that hard to try to pull a fast one on somebody, it's their fault. And it goes the same in like NES games and whatnot. I've seen sellers and I've had people contact me asking me if I want to buy high quality, easily passable like counterfeits. And I will watch some, people selling complete in box little Samsons and stuff, and people bidding up to the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that is fucking fake. Because the color on the box is like they literally they distress the box. They make it look worn. And it's fucked up. Like they're purposefully trying to pull fast ones on people, and it bugs the crap out of me. So the fact that we're blaming WATA here, like obviously WATA needs to learn their shit. They need to be accountable. Yes, they need to fix this. That's 100% true. But the fact that people are so motivated to pull fast ones on others for their own profit is a huge problem, in my opinion. Like, and I don't think we'll ever stop it. People are always trying to game the system and stuff. But why are we not harping on the person more than I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I think because we know that there's criminals out there, but the point of WATA is to protect us from that.
Right. I agree. It's just, yeah.
Like it's not a new story that people are doing shady shit on eBay.
Right. Yeah.
Although, how long is it until somebody starts making those WATA cases?
I'm sure it's already been done. I mean, but
Probably.
if I believe, aren't there registration numbers that you can cross-reference on the WADA website or something
I
to
don't
look
know.
up verification? There should be. I'm pretty like, I have some graded coins where you can go to if you have the coin, you can go to PCGS, put in the number, and it'll, like, show you a picture of the actual graded coin,
Oh, really?
um,
Okay.
to prevent that stuff. I don't know if WADA has those kinda things, but they should to cross-reference registration numbers. But again, if somebody's motivated enough, they can fake that shit. So,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
one
They
of those
just
things.
fake the one that there's a picture of.
Exactly. Yeah, it's awful. You have the next one. Was this week or last episode? I
I
wasn't
think
sure. It was the only
this
thing that was on there.
might be last. I don't know. Let's just read it. M2, the people, the Japanese company that does all the amazing re-releases.
Mhm.
They released Sensin Aleste in Japan, but only in arcades, and they have no plans to bring a home port out at all. They actually did this during the pandemic, and they still have no plans to bring this game to consoles. It's a shooting game of the Aleste series, which was popular on the Game Gear. They actually released a Game Gear compilation, I believe, last year. But yeah, it's just weird. Like, why would you just release a game for the arcades only in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah, that is wild. The only thing I can think of is, we've read stories about how arcades in Japan are shutting down and stuff, which is a big deal because it's a huge market over there
Yeah,
compared to the US. And thinking about it from a business marketing perspective, like if the problem is how do we get people back in the arcades, would this be their solution? Put out arcade only games, like motivate
maybe.
people to get their asses into an arcade.
My suspicion is that people at M2 are known to be very passionate. If you don't know who M2 is, go to My Life in Gaming's channel and type in M2 documentary. They did an awesome documentary about these guys, and I think this might just be a passion project. They wanted to make a game that went into arcades, like another game maker really wants to get a box copy of their game to put on their shelf. Like they
Mhm.
wanted to have a game in arcades. That's my
Yeah.
that's my feeling on this. It's really
Mm.
weird.
Yeah. I figured this next one's really fun. So, a Twitter user named Kite VR Now shared Legends of Zelda for the NES as a VR Doom mod. So you can
Cool.
actually, like, play it in VR, and it's the original. It's like I think it's like one level. So I think it's the dungeon and the level around it. Like, the opening level. Dun, 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 it's the
Yeah.
opening level of Zelda in VR. So you're Link running around with a sword that can like throw the whatever that's called.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sick looking. The areas look very large, the scope of it all. And the boxes in the dungeons are like higher than you can
Legend,
see,
dude.
so you have to like look around them and stuff.
Oh, heck yeah. I am so
Pretty
gonna
sure
play
you
this.
can Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can download it.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Oh my god, that's amazing. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
So this is, it looks like the original Doom engine. I'm sure it's not. Like it looks kind of better than the original Doom engine.
Mhm.
But it's like you are in Zelda of the NES, but you're walking around in first person, like in VR. It's amazing. Like it really looks great.
I wonder if this will be a normal thing. Can you imagine? But the problem is, like, Nintendo will never first party license this kinda stuff, so it's
Oh
only
no.
ever gonna
No.
be user hacks what is the legality of that?
It's probably illegal. It's
But,
probably not good.
as long as nobody's trying to profit off this stuff, I wonder if Nintendo will do anything about it.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm definitely gonna download this before it disappears.
Yeah, it looks fun.
That's great.
Um, US Customs, the very popular, everybody loves, US Customs show that aired 20 years ago, right? Uh, they destroyed again, WATA, a 9.2 Pokemon Yellow sealed, destroyed it.
I saw pictures of this. Yeah.
Not only did they open it, they took the cellophane off and they used like a knife or a razor and cut off like the entire front of the box. like, to add insult to injury, you know what I mean? Like, they couldn't just open the fucking top. Like, why would you slice the entire front of the box off? I don't know. Just it
This looks
not even,
malicious to me.
whatever your opinion, some people are not fans of grading in general, some people are not fans of WADA. It's valid criticism, but somebody who chooses to have this graded, whether it's to add value to the game or to just protect it, to have it destroyed like this for no real reason other than maybe the battery in the cart looked suspicious going through the thing. I don't
It's
know.
a fucking Game Boy game.
Yeah,
They
I
must
don't
see Game Boy
just
games constantly, or like they used to anyway.
yeah. Somebody speculated like somebody in customs must have really hated WADA, which could have happened. Who
It
knows?
it could be. It definitely seems like it's malicious, right? It just seems like it
Yeah,
was done maliciously.
yeah. That would break my heart. Like,
Yeah, that's really
there's a
sad.
handful of games that I have that are sealed that I want to send in somewhere to get graded, but this kind of stuff terrifies me.
Yeah.
Just I
Well, your
want to
games wouldn't
preserve
go through
them.
custom.
I want to preserve the condition that they're currently in.
It's got to
I
go
know that you
over
can.
international borders to go through customs, right?
Yeah. Some people might say, "Well, you can just buy an acrylic case." I'm like, "Yeah, you could." But I would like to know on a scale, like, where mine sits too compared to others just for bragging rights, I guess, a little bit. I don't know. Some people probably yeah. I have 2 graded games currently, but I always go back and forth. Anyways, whatever your opinion about graded games is, let people do with their shit what they want as long as it doesn't hurt you. PS1 games could be coming to the analog pocket.
I was shocked to hear this early on when they were talking about bringing ports over to the Pocket. They're like, PS1 probably can't do it. It's not powerful enough FPGA. And then they started talking about it last week. I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah. I think I didn't I mention or suggest maybe that N64 or PS1 games could come to the pocket and you're like, "No, it'll
Yeah,
never happen."
that's what they said. That's what the developers said. They're like, yeah, it's not as powerful as the Mister, so you can't get PS1 or Saturn games. They still haven't gotten N64 on Mister.
Yeah.
I don't even think
This is
anybody's working
the
on it.
video of this, it's very slow. It's like, 15 frames a second. Like it's smoothish, but it's slow.
Yeah,
But it is promising to see, like, not even just for the analog pocket, because the analog pocket's not the best form factor to play games like this on it, but it is very
yeah, but you just plug it
encouraging.
into your TV.
True.
That's
True.
what the brilliance of the analog pocket is to me.
That is
Is
true.
it's like the Switch, but for retro. Like sometimes I'm playing it in my hands. Sometimes I'm playing it on the. I bought a 8-bit do controller for it, so I can just sit there with it under my TV.
Hmm.
I love that thing. I play. I played all the way through Masters of Darkness, mostly on the TV.
Oh yeah, true. For me personally, this is encouraging for the thought of getting an analog PS1 that can play
Mm,
discs.
yeah,
That's like it's a step towards that in my head. I don't
mm,
whether that's true or not. I have no idea. Same with N64. I want an HD, um, filtered N64 FPGA system,
yeah.
which has not really even been in conversation.
No, it's
So
not. Apparently it's very hard to do that. I thought the Sega Saturn would be harder than N64, but I mean they've already got the Sega Saturn working on Mr. FPGA, but nobody's even talking about the N64. Maybe it's just a matter of time though.
I can't remember whether it was like 6 or 12 months ago. Somebody had started an FPGA N64 project, and they have a Twitter that I peek in on every so often, and every few months there's an update like, "Hey, I can now do this small thing in the menu of an N." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's a really slow progression, but it's promising because I just going back to the N64 and playing games as they are is very frustrating for me. So I'd really like to have some kind of maybe you can put some kind of filter in that has like a longer view distance or is able to smoothen out some of the polygons a little bit and upres them or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
to be able to play things a bit.
I have a modded N64 here that it it's got a couple of mods. One is that it has RGB out support, so I can plug it into my RetroTink 5X and get pretty
Hmm.
clean video, but it also de-blurs the image. You know how the N64 like automatically blurred, has like a Gaussian filter or something on it
Sure.
all the time? Well, this mod takes that off, and it makes the pixels look much sharper. It actually, like for some games it looks great. Like Mario Golf, it looks great. For like, uh, what was I playing? What's a fighting game? Killer Instinct. It still looks kind of, it looks like N64. Mario 64 though look great. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like hit or miss depending on the game, but it's pretty nice. Also, emulation is pretty good for Nintendo 64 at this point, and like you can
It's true.
play Nintendo 64 games at 4K now. You know,
Sure.
like it's pretty cool.
I should be
Widescreen
doing more
support.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah, widescreen report. That's how I play a lot of Mario Golf. Or that's how I played a lot of Mario Golf before I got that N64 modded.
Yeah. Because I want to experience a lot of the games that I didn't play as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But just trying to play them on normal hardware is unplayable to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no
But
good video output from the N64. You really got to get it modded or you use emulation.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, so on the subject of Analog Pocket, they updated it and they have an update and they added library and screenshots amongst a couple of other small things. And that was like right after the last episode. I don't think we
yeah,
talked about it.
no.
But we had been talking about the library and whatnot over the last couple of years and how it's kind of imperative that that they had some kind of hack there so that you could actually use the library and switch from game to game without having to actually move the cartridges around. And now you probably can, I would think.
I don't know. I have not had a chance to do this yet. This was on my list of things to do today that I totally didn't get around to doing. But my hope is that you can use the library with the open FPGA stuff.
Right.
But I don't know that to be the case. And the open FPGA stuff doesn't necessarily, it's not like across the board, like all the same. Like in Sega Master System, you can use save states, but in like Super Nintendo, you can't. Don't
Hmm.
take, that's not gospel. I can't remember which cores you can use save states and which cores you can't. So it's not like
Sure.
feature by feature is the same for every core on the Pocket. But it's getting better every update. Like it's really improving fast.
Yeah, and I'm hearing more and more people, they still have them available, I believe,
Yeah,
to
you can
to
still order
order.
them.
Even
Yeah.
it takes a while. And the market is flooded with them at this point. So the secondhand market or the reseller market is just pretty much non-existent. People are selling them for like $20 more than retail,
Oh,
which is
really?
really not a big deal if you want to get it now.
Yeah.
So hopefully that continues. If they were to be able to do that with some of their other systems too, even though the market's probably not as good, but those are
Well,
the
didn't
kind
they
of things that curb resellers for sure is
in the
supply.
open? Isn't the Pocket the only thing they sell right now?
That's a good question.
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
they're still selling. I think the MD and the SNES, but they've announced this is like the final production run of those.
Right. Yeah, they still have stock of a lot of the Segas and Super Nintendos currently. But yeah, it is, I believe, the last run.
And then the Turbo, we haven't heard anything about for a long time. The Turbo Graphics or Turbo Duo.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't heard any news in at least a year and a half.
Yeah,
Like,
it was supposed to come
uh,
out last year.
right. Like, smoke it. Isn't it also still pinned on their Twitter? Like the
Is
duo,
it?
it's got to be. I swear, it was pinned for a long time.
They did change the date on it to
No,
2023. I know that.
they pinned. They took the pin down. It's currently the pocket stuff. They had the duo thing pinned there for a while, I believe, which I thought was funny. Next news: Netflix just released a mobile port of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge on Android, and you can grab it now via Google Play. So if you have a Netflix subscription, I believe you can download this mobile port of
Is that
Shredder's
free if you have
Revenge.
Netflix? It's
I
free.
believe so. It's part of the subscription. Yeah,
I wonder why that's not coming to iPhone. Because when they did Into the Breach through Netflix, that came to iPhone.
sure. It's licensing fees because Apple's always wanting more than Google would.
I don't
quite a
have a
bit.
Google phone.
Yeah, I don't currently either.
I like
So
I like TMNT though. I thought Shredder's
I
Revenge
think,
was awesome.
yeah, I thought that was interesting. I wonder if you can play it, excuse me, multiplayer on that as well would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
There's
That,
probably like a Google Play
what
friends
a
list, I
great
would
game to
imagine.
have on your phone too.
Yeah. I wonder how it handles though with like phone controls.
I'm sure it's fine. Like how
It probably syncs to controllers and stuff though if you have like a
probably.
Bluetooth controller. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this one was interesting. Arcade One Up at CES, and I didn't even hear this until a couple of days ago. They announced Home Gamblecade or Casinocade. It's a Wheel of Fortune casino machine, and I believe you can have a whole bunch of other like gambling games on it and stuff. And it's got, it's basically gambling at home. I don't think you're using real money, but what
No.
my brain did with this, I'm like, I wonder because you can gamble at home if you download apps and there's like
Yeah.
you can spend real money and make real money and stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly lose money, but my brain goes like, I wonder if they're gonna try to do that with these machines
I don't think so. I
to
think it's like having a one-armed bandit in your basement, like in your man cave kind of thing, you know?
sure.
It's just
Like if
it's
you're
just
really
for
like
funsies.
you probably save money. You spend $500 on this. If you're a gambling addict, it'd probably save you money in the long run than going to the
Yeah.
casino.
I don't know if that's really the purpose of it is to actually gamble on it. I think more the purpose is probably like to have it in your like as a decoration in your man cave,
Sure,
like or on the bar, like you have a bar in your garage and you throw it on the bar to kind of people could tinker with while you're sitting around drinking
sure.
beers.
It does look like it can detach from the base. So,
Oh, really?
oh, I see like a line under the kind of top area. So maybe,
I saw the Wheel of
uh,
Fortune one and it looked like it was just like an iPad screen on the thing.
probably.
It was really tiny.
Yeah, you can have other. I'm pretty sure that there's other games and stuff. It says 20 other casino games, including blackjack, mahjong, and uh, yeah, 2 LCD screens, dual speakers, light up marquee, and Wi-Fi leaderboards.
The
Late spring,
slot
early summer.
machines never really appealed to me whatsoever. It was always like the
I
place I dropped my girlfriend off while I was going to the poker tables,
sure.
and then I'd come and pick her up.
I I end up losing money on the machines,
Yeah,
and then I win my money back playing blackjack and poker.
yeah,
Like I do like the bling bling hitting the jack or hitting the like the free spin, shit is always fun for me because and I also because I went down to Vegas for CES with the Cooler Master stuff. I had
hmm
won a good chunk of money on slots before losing it all, but and then I won a bunch of money playing poker, but um my brain goes because we know somebody who won 1.5 million on a slot machine
wow,
a handful of years back. And so I'm like, losing a couple $100 on a trip like this is not going to hurt us that much. It's a little inconvenient, but I planned for it.
yeah,
But winning hundreds of thousands or a million or something, that's life changing. So
yeah.
it's like one of those. The odds are very slim, obviously, but it's one of those things you can't win if you don't try, kind of things. So it's like, all right, well, the
My
progressive
problem
jackpots and
isn't
stuff.
necessarily the odds or like how they work. My problem is that I cannot be bothered to sit there and like hit the button
Sure.
repeatedly over and over again. Like you see the people who are playing and they're like nearly fucking falling asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that's how interesting this is.
A lot of times that you can just sit there and min bet and get free drinks. Some
Yeah,
people that I've been with, they're just hitting the bet machine once every 2 minutes, and they're just
yeah.
waiting for the drinks to come out, they're like, "I spent $5, I got 3 drinks. It's
I'd
great."
rather go to the bar and just pay for my drink.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I understand it though, like, I
Different
understand
strokes for
both
different
sides.
folks, though. You know.
Yeah. I do
Eh,
love poker, but,
I
like,
love
I love
poker too,
poker. Yeah.
and that to a lot like when I was playing a lot of poker at the casino, my girlfriend at the time could not understand why I could sit there for 8 hours, and I was having a ball.
The tournament that I chopped took 8 hours. It was
Yeah,
7 PM to 3 AM.
yeah, she could not understand it. These things not for me, but they did re-release the Star Wars arcade, I think, or they announced they were re-releasing it,
Yeah, there's a few
which
other
is
announcements from
pretty
Arcade One Up.
neat.
Yeah.
Star Wars arcade. It's like that old arcade version with the where you fly the X-wing and it's got like the it's not a steering wheel. It's like a flight yoke, but it's got handles and blasters on it. It's dope. It was a cool arcade game back in the day.
Also, in the same announcement, they announced the Infinity Game Board, which I thought looked pretty cool. It shows people playing Uno. So it's like a big, I don't know how big it is, but
It's
it
like a
looks
coffee
like,
table, small coffee table.
yeah, maybe 2 feet by a foot kind of size.
Oh,
And
really? I thought it was bigger than that.
I mean, it has to fit on a table, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And you can have multiple people sitting at different sides to play their turns. It's like a touchscreen kind of deal. And it says that it's going to feature a library of over 100 board games and some activities, but with a compact style that fits on your shelf rather than taking up space in your living room.
That's kind of neat because you never lose the game pieces or the cards or the.
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of neat.
I was, my family likes card games and board games and stuff. So
Yeah, we used to do a lot of that
it
too.
was cool.
So my kids turned about 13.
I don't
So the
think it has
moment they turned
prices on these.
teenagers,
Yeah.
then they were way too angry at us.
You've cheated, you ass. um, and I think the rest of the news you were covering.
This is some cool stuff. There's a fan remake of Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. It's available now. You can download it. It's available for PC. It looks really cool. It's kind of like a reimagining. It's pretty faithful to like the flow of Simon's Quest, but it adds a bunch of stuff. It's completely new graphics. It's really cool. It's like a heck of a fan game. It's currently available. If you just Google like fan remake of Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, it'll come up. You can download it now. I would recommend, if this is interesting to you, getting it quick, because get it before Konami does, if you know what I mean.
the
But it
music
was
that's
really amazing.
the music that's playing it is like really high def, like rock music. It's
Yeah.
like da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun.
Yeah, they like, it's 3D it's 3D 2D, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's
two and
the
a half
3D
D.
HD.
But they added bosses, they added a map so you can see where you're going. They changed some of the NPC dialogue to actually reflect what you're supposed to do, because like there's a terrible translation in Castlevania 2 where NPCs who were supposed to tell you how to progress just had like just gibberish basically. So it almost felt like the game was lying to you as as far as how to proceed.
Sure.
So this fixes that. It makes it a lot more straightforward, which is cool.
I will say the armor that the dude's wearing, I don't know if this is what it was like on the NES, but it looks terrible. It's like red and
Yeah,
yellow.
you don't like it?
It does not look, the armor does, or the outfit does not look good. But my question is, why don't developers more often look at this as a promising thing and like employ the people that are making this stuff as
It's
opposed to
happened so
getting
rarely,
offended by
right?
it?
It does
Usually,
happen though. I know Valve has done that. I know it's the guys who made Sonic Mania that started off as a fan game.
sure.
But yeah, I don't know.
Like companies often take this as a personal slight to them,
I don't know
and
about
they're
that.
like,
I think it's just that you can't allow people to use your IP
sure.
because of the way the law works. Like if there's something weird, like if you allow people to do it, then you can actually lose your rights to that IP.
Hmm, that
So
makes
they
sense.
have to protect it.
Sure.
Sonic character designer shares images of the game that evolved into Sonic. So this happened on Twitter, and basically, like, what's cool about this, I can't get the link to work. There we go. What's cool about this is the guy who created Sonic showed like some of the early art, Naoda Oshima, and it's like this kid with blue hair and like his brother with red hair, and like the art is completely different, but it's kind of neat just to see where like the ideas for these characters and where all this came from. But you can see him like running around like the loop de loop. You can see like the beginnings of what the world would eventually look like.
Some of
It's
this
kind of
looks like
cool.
Mario Brothers to me,
Well,
a little bit.
I'm sure it was an influence. But yeah, the guy's name
There's
is
like a car
Naoda
in it.
Oshima on Twitter. It's NAOTOOHSHIMA. Pretty neat.
Nice.
And then finally, I think this is the last story, right? Another fan-made sequel, Golden Axe returns. Again, download it now before it gets axed.
Uh,
But yeah, this one looks cool too. If you like Golden Axe, this is more Golden Axe, but it was made by fans. This one really looks like Golden Axe.
Golden Axe your
Yeah,
edition.
they've added characters from like, what was that Golden Axe fighting game? Golden Axe the Duel, I think it was called. Yeah,
there was the one that was the official make that they did on Steam, and then they pulled it down, right?
Yeah, Golden Axe. Apparently, the developer had some shit to say about Sega for doing that. He's like, "Yo, you guys made me do that in a month, and then you're gonna put it up on Steam and just make fun of me? That's messed up."
I'm pretty sure I have that in my library because it was like, you got to download it now, and it's gone in 2 days.
Yeah, FOMO.
Yeah. But it was free.
This is neat. Yeah. I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. I'm definitely gonna play it because I loved Golden Axe when I was a kid. Although when I've played Golden Axe as an adult, it does not hold my attention like it used to when I was a kid.
I think you got to play it with friends. I think this is one of those games that you really got to play co-op.
Yeah. But yeah, the belt scrolling beat 'em ups, I'm really picky about now. Like some of them I can get down with. Like I thought Ninja Turtles was cool. I thought Streets of Rage 4 was cool. But some of them I go back to. I'm like, nah, I'm just not into this anymore. Like this is just too boring. It's too repetitive.
Some of the ones, I mean, that's one of those retro styles that they've done so much with in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Things like Castle Crashers, was pretty revolutionary to me. And Scott Pilgrim, a lot of people really liked, and all that kind of stuff. So going back to those original ones that don't have the quality of life improvements and stuff is tough sometimes.
Yeah.
So before you say it, I'm pretty sure like every time this gets uploaded to YouTube, every show, there's one guy who scrolls through the video and tells us exactly how many minutes before we start talking about the game of the week that's in the title.
Nice.
So let me do it for you.
Okay.
It has been 52 minutes before we talked about Ghouls and Ghosts.
We're going to cut off like the first 5 minutes.
I don't like, my brain goes like, why are you so, who cares? You only want to hear about Ghouls and Ghosts.
Everybody wants to hear about Ghouls and Ghosts because it is one of the best arcade to home conversions for the Sega Genesis. It came out so early for the Sega Genesis too. It wasn't a launch game, right? But it came out, I think, in 1989, which was the launch year. Was it a launch game?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
I don't think it was a launch game, but I'm pretty sure it followed the launch of the Sega Genesis fairly closely.
Well, this was the sequel of Ghosts and Goblins for
That's
NES,
correct.
Right?
Yeah, Ghosts and Goblins, which got a port on the NES, and that game is mean.
I thought this one was pretty mean, to be honest. This
one, at least though, it's like you can throw your weapon up. It's definitely mean too. You are correct. Like Ghouls and Ghosts is, it's a side-scrolling action adventure. You play as Arthur, and you can take 2 hits before you die, or you can take 1 hit and then another hit kills you. You're dressed up in a suit of armor, and you fight like hordes of zombies and devils and all sorts of different monsters. It's kind of, what I like about it is it's kind of a lighthearted take on like all these like gruesome ghouls and ghosts, right?
Sure.
Like it's kind of got this like lighthearted feel. Even the music is kind of like adventurous and lighthearted. But man, it could be a bitch to play. That's for sure. It's hard. It's a hard game.
Look, respectfully, fuck this game. Like, it was Ninja Gaiden levels of frustration for me.
Wow.
A lot of it is, it's one of those games where you jump and whatever direction you're going until you hit the ground. Like there's no midair, which it is what it is. But the enemies that come off the screen that you don't know where the fuck they're going, and you have to predict where they're coming from and where they're going, that kind of stuff. Oh man, pretty rough. And it's that like you do get 2 hits or 3 if you get the upgraded armor,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
you can
like
get
you get
magic
hit,
gold armor as well.
and sometimes I felt like I would dodge stuff and I'd still get hit. Like there's multiple pixels between me and the enemy and I'm still getting hit. Like, and then the quicksand and the falling latches that you don't know where they are. Like just oh my god, dude. Like it was
That's just
so
mean. So in the second level, there's like you gotta like go up this hill, and like there's these like bouncing rock turtle guys like coming down
fuck those
at you,
guys.
which they can be a little hard. But then you finally get to the top, they stop, and you like gotta cross this bridge. But parts of the bridge have like broken things so you can fall through, and one of them is directly above this like sandpit monster who kills you instantly. And the only way you
Well,
can
and
possibly know it's
yeah.
there is by playing the game and dying to him.
I was trying to figure this out. So one of the times I jumped over him and I was continuously jumping and then I just died to the sand. Like you can just die to the sand too.
Oh, I didn't know you could die to
Like
the sand.
multiple times. I was like, well, I guess I have to do the bridge. So it took me like a dozen tries to finally get across the bridge.
Okay, yeah, I
And
always
then
take the bridge.
and then I was naked for the boss fight. And I was like, oh great.
Yeah,
Whatever. Uh,
the game is hard. I do think the game is fair in the
there is
fact that you can learn how to play this game and you can get good at it, and it is fun at that point.
yes, sure. The one saving grace that I will give it is that I'm pretty sure it's unlimited continues.
Yeah,
And when you continue, you at least start at the beginning of the area that you were in. You don't go all the way back to the beginning of the game. That's like the
yeah,
one thing that kept me trying and kept me going. Because imagine you die, you continue and start it back. I'd be fuck this game, I'm out. Um,
yeah,
so at least it like you're not necessarily starting the exact same spot, but like kind of you go back one chapter or whatever in the level, and that was the main reason why I kept trying. The other thing I was trying to figure out, can you change weapons once you get an upgrade?
no,
Because I
that I think is the hardest part about the game. Actually, is because the weapons randomly, drop from enemies that you've killed or from chests. And some of the weapons are great, like the dagger, and some of the weapons are completely useless, like the flame. Like you could
it's tough because you can't hit stuff in midair, like only the ground stuff.
right, and
Or you
against
can hit
bosses,
stuff in
some
midair and just
bosses it
suffer.
just won't work, right?
Sure.
The problem is that once you pick something up, it's not like Castlevania where it just you still have your whip attack. This is now your weapon. And it's
Yeah.
not one of those games where if you pick it up, your old weapon drops behind you so you can just pick that up. No, once you pick it up, you've got it. And if you're unlucky, it can drop in a place where you cannot avoid picking it up, like above a ladder that you have to get. And it won't go away. It won't just flash and go away. It just stays there. Sometimes the best option is to kill yourself because you don't know you don't know when the next time you're going to get a random weapon to drop is. And like if you have the daggers, which is the best weapon in the game, if you get the daggers, you should keep them. But if you get the daggers and there's like a sword in front of you and you cannot avoid that sword, I mean, you can basically screw yourself. Like you could be kind of stuck, and when you die, you start with the most recent weapon that you had. So
Yeah, even after continues, you still have the same
yeah.
weapon. I'm like, how the hell?
Yeah, that to me is the worst part about the game. It's the worst designed part about the game. Otherwise, though, I think this game is gorgeous, and it's unbelievable how much it looks like the arcade version of the game.
Sure, sure.
The arcade version was made by Capcom, obviously, but the Genesis port was done by Sega, and they did a
Hmm.
phenomenal job. This game looks. I own the arcade version on Mister. Like I've played the arcade version. It's
Hmm.
so similar that it's not worth like comparing and contrasting. The sound, the music, I think is iconic. It's wonderful, and every stage has a great look to it, a new flavor, like a new feel. Like you feel like you're on a grand adventure as you move through these worlds. Yeah, it's difficult, but as you learn how to use Arthur and his attacks and also the enemies. You got to learn the pattern of the enemies. It's an old school video game. You're not going to beat this game the first time you play it for sure. But as you learn it, it is fair and you can beat it. but you got to do it twice because
Yeah, you got to go through the whole game twice to actually beat it.
when you get to the last boss, it tells you you can't beat him. You gotta play through the whole game and get like this special holy
Special
weapon,
weapon. Yeah.
and then you can come back and then you can beat the boss. Which is when I played this game for the first time and I finally got to that last boss and I read that, I was upsetty spaghetti. I was
I mean, it is
extremely
clever.
mad.
But yeah, that's rough. That's not a good
Yeah,
experience as a player. Oh.
no, and they've kept that. Like they just came out with a new Ghouls'n Ghosts game like a couple years ago, and they kept that sequence. Like they've just stayed with it. Super Ghouls'n Ghosts, I believe, is the same way. I did play a little Super Ghouls'n Ghosts. Differences are pretty crazy. Super Ghouls'n Ghosts is considered a sequel to Ghouls'n Ghosts. So the Super Nintendo game is considered a sequel to the Genesis game. But it's funny because you can no longer throw upward, which is really nice because you can, in Ghouls'n Ghosts on the Genesis, you could throw your weapon straight up. But in Super Ghouls'n Ghosts, you could double jump, which I think I like better because it just gets you out of shit so much more.
Sure.
But I have not completed Super. How far did you get in this game?
I don't know exactly where the levels started and ended. Like you said, the
Yeah.
second level had the turtles and stuff. I think I got to the level after that.
Yeah. Did you get to the worm boss with like the pods that you got to kill?
Okay. I had the one boss with the ogre whatever
the big head
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's hard. And like I had unlimited time as a child to put into this game, so I kind of familiar with it.
Sure.
I wonder if my thinking would be more akin to yours if I came to this fresh.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I hated it. Like it was like honestly, the continuing in the same zone was key to me not fucking throwing this out the window. Like it's like, okay, let's try it again. I know kind of the order of operations here. And so it would take me, you could do 5, 6, 7, 8 tries of the same area to finally get through it, which is a nice thing in a retro game. Like not all retro games give you that kind of experience. So I will say that was the saving grace for me. Um, because like even in Ninja Gaiden, I can't remember. You start at the beginning of the act, like um Ninja Gaiden has more like thought out levels where it's like 7-1, 7-2, 7-3. And if you die on 7-3, you go back to 7-1,
Yeah, that's a
where
bug
it's
apparently.
yeah, Ghouls and Ghosts, you start at 7-3 even after continuing stuff, which is, it's an upgrade in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think in Ghosts and Goblins for NES too, it has those like gargoyle demons that spun off into their own game series. So Demon's Crest and like Gargoyle's Quest and those kind of games are actually the the gargoyle demon from these games.
Yeah, they're called like the
which
Armorer or something like that. I can't remember exactly. They have like a name.
those are I'm not sure. We should cover Demon's Crest or something at some point.
I would love to. That's an expensive SNES game, right? Demon's Crest.
It is.
But I believe it's on the Switch as part of the Super Nintendo library.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe it's on there.
There's also the Gargoyles 1 and 2, or it's Gargoyles Quest.
For the Game Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good game too.
Yeah, those are all in the same. Those are like sequels of each other, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're all related to this game, which I thought was kind of cool that they had like characters that spun off. You can play as Sir Arthur in the Marvel versus Capcom games, which I thought was silly.
That's right. In Street Fighter V, you can dress Ryo up in the armor, and in the second round, he'll just be in the. He'll lose the armor, but still have the underwear. Yeah.
Now I have to play that game.
Yeah.
Let's see here. They, this was a very highly acclaimed game.
Yeah.
It was EA Gaming Monthly's awards for Best Game of the Year, Best Graphics, Best Sequel, Coolest Boss, Genesis Game of the Year for Computer Entertainment Awards, Best Coin Co-op for Video Games and Computer Entertainment, Genesis Game. Like, just it got a whole bunch of awards. Had highly rate. Like in my brain, I'm like, what were they smoking? Was there nothing else?
You got to put yourself back in 1989.
Sure.
When this was an early Genesis game, this was by far the best early Genesis game, like by far. And like you're comparing this to NES games. The Super Nintendo is still 2 years away.
Sure. That's true. Yeah, no, I mean, it looked great, played great, other than the jumping thing. I was gonna ask, in the double jump in Super Ghouls and Ghosts, can you change direction for the second jump?
I think you can. Yes.
Yeah, so that would definitely help.
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yeah,
that's a
that
cool ass game too. Like that. That's a very good game as well.
I mean, there's a lot of times where you have to jump standing still, and you have to, like, really commit to a direction, and once there's no going back. It's a tough
I
thing that
mean,
games don't really do anymore
that's
now
also
because
how
of how tough it
jumping
is.
works, though.
You mean you can't change direction midair?
Nope.
Just stop trying to make sense of me, Briar. Come on now. Not a whole lot else. Yeah, there's been a couple of kind of sequels to this game franchise recently, right? Nothing like too crazy popular that everybody should go play immediately, but they're
I
dabbling, they're trying stuff.
I did check out the newest version. I think it came out in like 2018, and I think it's called Ghouls' Ghosts Resurrection.
Mhm.
And it was controversial because the art style like almost had this like papercraft art style to it.
Mm.
Um, and people didn't like it, which is weird because to me it's just like they said it was too hard. I'm like, well, that's Ghouls' Ghosts. Like, yeah, that's what you're
Thank
signing
you.
up for.
Mhm.
If say Kirby and it was too hard, like then I could see like, oh, this is not what I expected. You know?
Right. I don't know. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. It's a
It's
hard
kind of
game,
my
but
case.
it is cool. There is a the first time I ever beat it, it was because I used a cheat code, like
Oh.
unlimited, like basically you couldn't take damage, so
Oh.
I could like run all the way through it.
Sure.
I think that actually helped me because when I first started playing it, I was very young and I could not get past the second level. Like it was hard, but once I did it with the cheat code, I'm like, okay, well, there's all this stuff. Like, I must be able to like get here, so let's just learn it. And I was
Mhm.
able to beat it as a kid, like
Nice.
without cheating. I can't do it anymore
Awesome.
though.
Yeah. Tough. Anything else on Ghouls and Ghosts?
No, I thought you got a note here that I thought was interesting that the main boss was called Lucifer in the arcade, but they changed it to Loki for the console version. That is such an 80s and 90s thing to do. Like,
Yeah, right.
what's the difference?
It's too evil. Yeah, like the Bible references and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a pick for next week?
I do, which
What
I
is it?
think is ironic that I'm complaining about the difficulty level of
Oh
this
no.
game.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's a game that we probably should have covered by now, and I was like, all right, let's just fucking do it, even though it's not my favorite game in the world. But
Contra. You're right. It is time. It is surprising we haven't gotten here yet.
I know. Contra 1. I do have, so there's 3 Contras for the NES. There's, I believe, Contra Super C and Contra Force.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if we want to cover all of them or just the original.
I think one is enough.
I'm probably going to be using the infamous Konami code.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
gonna
probably
give this
still
a
won't
real
beat it.
shot though to see if I've never beaten this game.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I think it's time. Now's the time.
Playing this co-op is one of my favorite child memories, I feel like,
Yeah,
because
it
it's
was super fun.
frustrating, but at least if you're doing it with somebody else, you're frustrated together, you know?
Or frustrated at them because they're moving the screen and like you're still on the platform and you die
Sure.
because they moved forward.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, I'm down. Contra. Okay, that's gonna be fun.
Okay.
I'm gonna write that on our game list.
Sounds good.
Have you ever had to go back and listen to an old episode because you forgot which game we're covering?
Yes. I did that with I did that with Ghouls and Ghosts. I did actually write it down too, so I have my little sticky notes here next to the desk that I had written it down because I was like, I don't have it. And then also I had saved an eBay search for it, so it wasn't too
Ah,
bad. But I did as pickups, I did end up getting a complete copy,
yeah.
fortunately.
I like
So
the box art for this game a lot. I think it's really cool. Like the picture of the knight and the boss behind him, and like the lightning coming out of him, like his like super ability. Let me see if
yeah,
I
I
can
feel
get.
like the box looks a heck of a lot cooler than the game.
God, I think the game looks so cool. I'm surprised you don't like the graphics of the game.
I mean, no, I didn't say that I didn't like it. I'm just saying it looks so much different.
And it's got the Genesis black box, which I really like as well. That
Oh
makes
yeah,
me happy.
the grid.
Yeah, the grid. I really like this game. This game also, since I had it when it was new, it's very nostalgic for me. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Um, do you want to continue with your pickups?
Sure.
I got some
So I
too. I'll
did.
do after you.
I had traded a bunch of stuff to Eastarland, and they ended up. I actually got that from Eastarland, and it came yesterday in the mail. I
Perfect.
wasn't sure if I was going to get it. Um, and you had talked about this game last episode. I
Oh
also
yeah,
got this from Eastarland. I got a complete
nice.
copy. It's in the manual is a little beat up, but the cart's in fantastic shape. Gaiaris, is that how you pronounce
Yeah,
it?
I believe so.
So it's one of the more rare Genesis games, but I'm pretty sure the same owner probably owned these 2 games because they popped up around the same time.
Oh really?
And so what I do on Eastarland, if I have credit, which I don't anymore, you can sort the search by like most recent in. And if you get like one, like I've gotten some boxed games for cheap that way because it's like it'll be one person sending in all their shit and it'll all pop up like right next to each other. So if you're quick, you can get stuff, and sometimes they price it pretty
Mm.
aggressively.
Now that
These
I know
were
you
priced
have
a little
that, we
high,
might
but
have to pick that as a future
oh, Gaiaris?
game. Yeah.
Well, and they had done the whatever, the limited run re-release of this
Yeah, that's
recently.
what I got. I got that right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't get the original one, you got the re-release.
yeah, I got the re-release.
But it's basically the same game though, right?
I think it's exactly the same game. It's just
Different packaging, yeah.
yeah.
I now own all 4 Castlevania games for the Game Boy Advance, the most 2
Oh,
recent ones.
interesting. Those are good
Complete in box
games.
anyways. Circle of the Moon and the double pack,
Yeah,
which I also have Harmony of Dissonance and Aria of Sorrow complete in
separately.
box. Yeah. So,
Those are good
um,
games.
got these. This was from Eastarland. It was a little beat up. I didn't get to see the condition before I got it, but
Mm.
it is what it is. Got
I
got this
did
from the
order
retro
the
game store.
Castlevania Advance. Wait, did I order that? I have the Castlevania Advance collection that they came out with recently, and I've been
Okay.
waiting to see limited run because limited run I'm sure will do it like a physical release of that because they did it with the original Castlevania collection.
Sure. You think that'll be on Switch?
I hope so. That's where I
It's
want it
like because
for.
they don't do like GBA carts really, do they?
They have one on there now. I think Jaime's Adventure,
Hmm.
Jaime's Quest.
And this is my last one. I wouldn't consider myself a sealed game collector, but I do have a decent amount of sealed games. Most of them are because of like the pricing or the opportunity or whatever. And so I'd gone to the retro game store. They gave me great trade-in prices on some of my stuff. Like there's a couple of people that work there that really do a good job, in my opinion, of meeting my expectations of trade-in prices. And they had this and it was priced very aggressively. Dr. Mario
Dr.
sealed.
Mario.
They only had priced it like any of the sealed games that they ever get, they price them super aggressively because they're like, get it out of here. So
Yeah.
$200, which I got 10% off of that. And it's one of my wife's favorite games as a child.
Oh,
It's not
neat.
in like gradable condition, so I'm just gonna leave it. But just I don't know. You don't come across sealed games all that often,
Yeah.
especially for a decent price. So
Cool.
I don't know. This we have to cover Dr. Mario at some point too. I thought about making that this
Yeah.
week's game, but Bum, ba-da-da-dun, ba-da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-da-dun. Music.
I haven't
Very
played
nice.
that since I was a little kid.
Really?
Yeah.
It's one of the games that my wife will destroy me at.
It's like a
Like,
match 3, right? Like you got to match 3 of the same color.
yeah, so you got the little pills that have 2 colors. It could be the same color or different colors, and you gotta
Yeah.
get at least 3. You can get more than 3 as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a fun game. Puzzle games.
My
my
games
favorite.
are all old games with new releases, so it's a little weird. And two of them are okay. They're a little weird. A little weird. I think I might have mentioned this last week. This is Andro Dunos 2. This is
No, you
this
didn't.
I did mention this. This is a sequel to a Neo Geo game. Andro Dunos was a Neo Geo game, and this is a sequel made by Pixel Heart or Visco. I got the Peggy version, the European version. There is now a US
NA version?
Yeah. So on Amazon. But this game is awesome. I'm really happy with it. Like I've been having a ton of fun with it. It's super charming. Like the graphics are really great. They're totally retro graphics. And it looks like a Neo Geo game. I've been really happy with it. Another Neo Geo sequel is Windjammers 2. I ordered this game like a year ago, and it just
I was
showed
gonna
up.
say I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, it finally came. I ordered the Switch version and the PS4 version. I don't know what the holdup was with this one, but man, it took forever to get here. But I'm glad it did. I haven't even opened it out of the plastic wrap yet. But
Briar also finally came.
but I'm
I'm an
happy.
adult.
Windjammers is one of my favorite Neo Geo games, and I played the sequel. I think it was on Xbox a lot or Xbox. What is it called? Xbox. What's the Xbox service that you play all the games for free?
God, Game
Pass. It's on there, and I played a bunch of it on there.
For free.
Yeah. This is a collection, the Valise collection. This came from Limited Run in the same box, I believe, as Windjammers. And it's Valise 1, 2, and 3 all on one Switch cartridge. I haven't opened this one yet. I'm looking forward to playing these. I've never played any of the Valise games. Have you ever played any of the Valise games?
I own a couple. I haven't played them.
Yeah, I haven't played them either. I think like the first one came out on the TurboGrafx, and I think the second and third one came out on the Genesis.
I think I have the Genesis and the Super Nintendo one.
Oh, I didn't even know they came out on the Super Nintendo.
Super Valis, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't think that one's on here. I think it's just 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, I've heard these are good. I just never have gotten around to playing them, so I thought I'd pick that up from Limited Run.
Super Valis 4. Yeah.
This is another Limited Run release of an old game, but this one really is nostalgic because it's Night Trap.
Oh my!
So they re-released this a few years ago, and I missed it. But they redid all the video. They remastered all the video, so now it's high def video.
Oh, you got the better one.
Yeah. So this is the funny thing about this game was that it was a Sega CD game. It was an early Sega CD game. It was a bad game, but it was so graphic for the time that it actually caused the congressional hearings and the creation of the ESRB, and that's why we have ratings on our games now. It's also like one of the greatest stories of the feud between Sega and Nintendo. But yeah, Night Trap. I brought this up on SideQuest. They didn't even know, they had no idea what I was talking about. They had no idea, Jay. No clue. I tried, but they were not catching on. They were just more concerned about why is that girl in her bra? I'm like, well, that's the girl from Different Spoons, or what was that show?
Different Strokes?
Different Strokes, yeah.
Different Spoons?
Yeah. And then this one I'm psyched about. Garou Mark of the Wolves. This is another Neo Geo game. It's a re-release for the PS4. This is possibly the best fighting game on the Neo Geo. I think this has online play and everything, so this is kind of neat.
This is like a new game.
No, this is just a re-release of the Neo Geo game.
Oh, they just added a bunch of functionality to it. Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
This is, I mean,
PS4?
Just to have a copy of this. Yeah, just to have a copy of this is kind of neat, right? Because I'm never going to own the Neo Geo cartridge.
Sure.
That's like $4,000 minimum, I think.
You can figure it out. And aren't they also large, the Neo Geo carts?
Yeah, they're cool.
I was gonna ask about the limited. You said you got 2 in the same package?
Yeah, so when I buy from Limited Run, they charge a lot for shipping, so I'll normally try and buy like a couple of games at the same
Sure.
time. Because like
I was gonna ask if you did that or if they just lumped them in there, even though you'd paid
no,
separate shipping.
no, they won't do that.
Okay.
But the problem is if you do it the way I do it, is that sometimes like something will get delayed, and that means your whole order will get delayed.
You gotta wait. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So,
Can you imagine their warehouse? They gotta set stuff aside for like a year until something
well,
gets.
that's the funny thing about Night Trap is since this game, Limited Run does not re-release games, but what they do is at the beginning of every year, they'll have like a little like a special sale and say like here's like our leftovers, right? Here's the stuff
Yeah.
that we had extra of. We're gonna sell them on the website, first come first serve, and that's how I got this, because I had missed it when it was originally out, and I wanted it,
hmm
because this is kind of like a piece of nostalgia. I don't know. I don't think it's ever gonna be worth anything. It's fucking Night Trap.
Yeah. I've never played it, but I know I've seen scenes of it.
Yeah.
Maybe one episode we should cover it.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be fun. I did
Just,
also
just
order
to
the
be
PS5
silly.
version.
There's a PS5 version of Night Trap. Oh, on limited run. I was gonna say like
Yeah.
Sony officially
No.
released.
It's the same game. What they did though is they took all the film and they rescanned it, and like so it doesn't look like a Sega CD game anymore. Like the Sega CD film is so grainy because they're trying to play footage
Sure.
off of a Sega CD. Even the 32X version was better looking, but this looks like regular 1990s video. That's
But
it.
the
That's
newer
all
ones
my
actually
pickups.
look like it looks like a newer game. The newer ones.
No. It's still the same game, but they just redid the video, so it's not all grainy like it was on the Sega CD.
Right. Okay.
They used
Sure.
the same film, but they rescanned it. However,
Sure.
you redo that, and now it just looks like a video.
Individual squares in the red room. Yeah, I get it. I'm just kidding.
So that's it.
Yeah.
That's the show. Next
Nice.
week, Contra. I think Contra might be the most infamous NES game,
It's up there.
right?
And it's one of the the gray boxes. So it was after the black boxes. The gray boxes
Yeah.
came out.
Well, that's the Konami box, right? That's like the silver Konami box. All
Well, I
those
mean,
Konami games all look like that.
is Kid Icarus a Konami game?
No, that's it.
There's a bunch of. Well, yeah, Castlevania were gray games as well. Just like looking at my collection, I'm pretty sure Kid Icarus. I swear.
Yeah,
that those are
Metroid
other
I think was a
games.
gray box as well, but the gray box for I think Nintendo and Konami are a little different.
Okay, would make sense. But Contra Force is not a gray box game,
Also, not a good game from what I understand.
but it's also an expensive game.
I don't think it was even supposed to be a Contra game. I think they just slapped the badge on it just to try and sell more
Really?
copies. Yeah, that's what I understand. I don't. I've never played it, so I don't.
I haven't
actually
played
know.
it either, but I
I
own
think
it.
Super C is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah. Is it the same one for Game Boy too? Operation C?
I don't know.
Might be a different game.
I don't know. I didn't even follow Game Boy stuff when I was a kid, so my Game Boy knowledge is very, very.
Man, Game Boy stuff was so good to me when I was a kid. It was like one of the only systems where I was allowed to actually own games because you couldn't rent them.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
I always had a Game Boy on me.
All right, so we'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about Contra. What are you up to in this coming period?
I'm considering. I haven't even talked about this. We're talking about me maybe doing a schedule change for stream stuff, but a couple of things need to fall into place for that. I'm kind of in a mode right now where I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do things. I'm gonna try some new stuff because I've been, doing the same thing forever. So, but otherwise, still having fun, hanging out, playing Destiny, and occasional retro games and stuff on stream at night. So
Yeah, you're looking forward
about
to
you?
the new DLC for Destiny?
Yeah, I get to ride some Titans, so I'm excited about that.
Who would be?
Have you seen the trailers where you can just like attach
yeah, with the
Twizzler to the Titan and just ride him?
Yeah, I'm in. I'll ride some Titans with you. We'll make a night of it.
Nice. Unfilmed. Be. I don't want a record of that.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Play some Contra. Let us know what you think of Contra. And play some Contra Force. Tell us what you think of that, too. Because we're not going to do
Awesome.
it. All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.